Hello there. My name is Lisa Getz. I'm an advisory solutions consultant with Employee Workflows. And along with Deb Stuck, we've been talking with your team about how we can use some ServiceNow tools that are in our HR service delivery to help digitize tasks for standing up clinical service spoke sites. And what we're able to do then, and I encourage you to pause this recording so that you can take a look at these at the problem and solution statements in detail. But we're working with the teams to identify how we can help refine and provide efficiencies for standing up those spoke sites. We were finding out that a lot of those processes are manual, and the time in between the initial request and actually standing up the site could be elongated. And some of the goals here were to try to shorten that cycle and also digitize tasks as needed so that you can get more visibility on what's been completed. We can also allow you to track any types of bottlenecks in the process and make sure that you have other stakeholders who can also foster these processes along. And in the case of manual processes, were there items that could be digitized instead? So instead of filling out a paper form, can we make that an electronic form so it could be stored? We can eliminate the possibility of something being lost. We could apply approvals to certain processes, and again, make that process flow a lot better with some of these tool sets. Again, we were able to find out that a lot of these processes were happening in silos, so there wasn't visibility across these different chains. And what we can start doing is bringing those all together so that you can have those views across the processes and across those departments and eliminate those silos. Now, ServiceNow has many workflow tools. What you're seeing is just an example of a classic workflow process. However, when we start working with all of the tasks that are involved, trying to create separate workflows for all of those tasks might be difficult to maintain, especially since there were different tasks that were launched based on the profile of the clinician that was being dealt with, that was going to be part of the spoke site. Let me go ahead and just drag over here also a spreadsheet that we've been using as a basis for this process that was provided by your team. So this is a comprehensive set of tasks that are taking place when a spoke site is stood up. And also notice that the type of clinician that is inheriting these tasks are going to be specific to the types of tasks used. So if, for example, I have a mental health clinician, they're going to get a subset of tasks that might be different than a PCP type of clinician. So like this spreadsheet, we were able to digitize those tasks according to that audience. So that's what I wanted to show you next. So what we're able to do is gather together groups of these tasks into different timeframes on when they should be launched and monitored. And then as the full stand-up site process was starting out, we can launch certain tasks immediately based on that audience. And then after those tasks are completed, then we could launch another set of tasks to be completed. And then even on the live date, we could again create another set of tasks and do follow-up tasks maybe 30 days later according to your process, so that you have full monitoring of how things are going. We could also do surveys to see how the process is as well. And then again, as I was mentioning before, certain processes, for example, the TSA form, depending might be irrelevant on the type of clinician, because everybody has to fill out a TSA form. But if it's a CVT clinician, they might have a facilities request where they have to set up codec equipment. A PCP might have additional credentialing processes that need to be launched, and we can integrate with those processes to even make those secondary systems and that process with a secondary system even more efficient. So again, we're also taking into account the kind of audience, and really taking this big set of different tasks that are happening, and organizing them and launching them at different time frames so that you can streamline those processes and monitor them so that you have this cohesive, streamlined approach across those departments as well. So let's show you really quickly what that would look like. From a user who was standing up the site to start the process, that might launch a TSA form. There might be an integration from Leafs that might start this. And we could also even start this directly from our Employee Center portal in case you wanted to start that manually. And we've even created a sample of a service. I'm just going to do this global search so that I can create this service, or I can access the CRH spoke site stand-up service that we configured for this example. And this is allowing me to select the type of clinician that will be launching this process. I could do a mental health clinician, for example, and I would just submit that process, and that would start launching all these tasks. Now, I've already done that. Let me go ahead and show you what that would look like. So again, from an ownership perspective, you would also be able to view the process itself, even if you were just monitoring it, even if you weren't actually creating tasks or completing tasks. But what we could do is allow multiple individuals to have access to be able to view this. If they have tasks they need to complete, they could also be part of this task. And they can go ahead and view these different stages and phases of the tasks. You can see that even some tasks get launched immediately. Some tasks, according to this pizza tracker, haven't been started yet. So keep in mind, you can also view that. Now, from a user perspective, they might have a task that they just need to open up quickly and complete a checklist that's allowing that user to check these items off and then mark that as a complete. Also notice, I can also add time frames to this view as well. So I could see what tasks might be overdue already, what tasks might be due in a couple of days. So depending on the task, you can create different time frames that can allow you to track these items too. Plus, we can embed forms that can also be attached to this. And I'm going to show you that in a separate example, so that you can also add those forms to be completed so that they can also be signed and tracked as well. So we can allow you to embed those forms. We can add a digital signature that could be part of this so that that person can go ahead and sign that agreement directly from here. And from the user's perspective, they just have a series of tasks they need to complete. And they can see what that due date, what might be, and what tasks might be overdue as well. From the administrator perspective, we can also allow those users to be able to see the progress on those tasks. So from a metric standpoint for KPIs, to see what's been completed so far. We can also allow you to track and monitor progress on those different sites that are being stood up. So as I'm viewing these items at the bottom, these life cycles, I can see that 2 of the tasks out of the 9 have been completed. I can see what overdue tasks have been happening. So we can see if there's any bottlenecks here. I can drill into these tasks so that I can see them specifically and escalate if needed. So that's just a high level view. We are doing other demos that are a little bit more detailed, but wanted to give you an idea of what we were proposing for the build and how we could use this tool set to make this process easier for this specific type of use case for the spoke site. We are also using this for other applications as well, things like onboarding and offboarding, more on the employee side, but leveraging these tool sets to help you make this process a lot more efficient. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to talk with you soon more in person.